Hello, everyone. Ian McMillan here from Fansided, joined by a very special guest today. Quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins, partnered with Tostitos for the upcoming Super Bowl. I want to obviously talk to you about your partnership with Tostitos, Kirk, but I do want to start things off with just asking you how your Achilles is doing.
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's been a good process. I had surgery November 1st, and so I'm now about 2.5 months out, and uh, everything's been on the up and up. Recovering well, on track for next season, and really looking forward to hitting the practice field again, and just meeting those milestones as we get closer and closer to next year.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Now, obviously, I introduced you as Minnesota Vikings quarterback. I do have to note your contract does come up here in a couple of months. Now, I'm not going to ask you, what you plan on doing this offseason, if where you're going to sign. Obviously, you're not going to tell me that. You probably don't even know yourself, but allow me to just make a quick pitch to you if I can. What if I told you there was a team out there that had several positions on offense with young talent? What if I told you they had a top 10 defense this year? What if I told you this team might be a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender? And what if I told you you might have some kind of personal connection to the city? Maybe just for example, theoretically, you got married in the city where this team plays. Does that possibly interest you theoretically whatsoever?
That's amazing. I see what you did there. No, it's a my wife is from Atlanta, and I see the Falcons helmet in the background.
Yeah,
So
I
I'll
might have
tell
gave
you
myself
what,
away with
we're
that one.
still. It's a lot of stuff is going to happen between now and March, and so I've learned in this league you kind of take it one day at a time, and all these playoff games have to be played, the Super Bowl, the head coaching hires, the staffs shift around, and then the dust kind of settles, and people go to the combine, and you go from there. So it's a process I've been through before, and we'll be going through it again in a few weeks. But until we get to that point, I'm just kind of like laying low, and just we'll see. Once we get to March, we'll deal with March stuff. And until then, it's like I don't even want to deal with it because so much is going to change.
Yeah, of course. I at least did have to give you my little pitch there. Love to see you
That
there.
was, that was I mean, as pitches go, that's as good as I've heard in a long time.
Beautiful. I'm interested to get your thoughts on something, especially as a quarterback here. Something I've noticed the past couple of years is that scoring as a whole has kind of been down across the NFL, specifically passing touchdowns for some reason. 1.39 passing touchdowns per game this season. That's down from 1.54 in 2021, 1.7 in 2020. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I wish I had a good answer for you because I've asked the same question. You're right that I was used to years where a Patrick Mahomes throws for 50 touchdowns,
Right.
and then suddenly, the leader in the league is in the mid 30s, and so it has been a little different this year. I don't know if there have been a couple changes. There's a rules to the screen game that have changed over the past couple of years. Don't know if that's made a difference. Don't know if the RPO game, the way they flag, linemen downfield more often, if that makes a difference, or if defenses is kind of cyclical where defenses start catching up to some of the schemes that had been working and now offenses have to reinvent. I do think there's a continuous growth that has to happen on both sides of the football to be able to stay ahead of the other. And if you get stuck behind, that can certainly show up in the production because this league is and this game is always evolving.
Have you noticed anything when you prepare for a game that defenses are doing differently or have done differently the past couple of years? Like, are we seeing more like too high safeties, or is there anything else that you're noticing in the defenses that could cause offenses to kind of switch things up and maybe go for more short yardage passes instead of always looking for the explosive play?
This is probably an overgeneralization, or it is an overgeneralization, but I think you see a little bit more of the rooftop coverage where you're trying to prevent fatals. And then I think you also see more of the all-out aggressive coverage, force the quarterback to throw the ball quickly where he has no choice. He cannot hold on to it. And I think when you play in those two extremes, that creates some conversation for offenses around how they want to attack it. And I think you do see those two extremes maybe a little more than defenses in the past that probably tended to stay right down the middle, somewhere in between those two.
Now, I want to talk to you about the playoffs this year. The 49ers, obviously the number one seed in the NFC. They've looked invincible at times this season, but not when you played against them. You actually had a great game against them, completed 35 of 45 passes, 378 yards, 2 touchdowns. What is the key to beating this 49ers team that has at times looked almost unbeatable?
Yeah, they've had some of their best games have been games that make you say, wow, how are they not going to win it all? But
Right.
I think you have to protect. You have to, and that includes the quarterback has to get the ball out quickly, and the coach has to have a plan that protects the quarterback and not doesn't ask the O-line to do too much. But in that game we were fortunate we didn't have any sacks, and so we were able to kind of get rid of the football fast enough that their pass rush wasn't able to wreck the game, which I think they can do quite often. I also think their offense, the Niners' offense, is really skilled, and so it can be difficult to stop them. When we played them, Deebo Samuel was out, and I'm not complaining when Deebo Samuel's out, but when he's healthy, he may be the best player in football with the ball in his hands. So, he poses a challenge, as do a lot of the skill guys in that team. And it was a team win for us that our defense only allowed 17 points, and when you do that, you can beat a lot of good football teams.
Now, the 49ers might be in trouble for a different reason. I don't know if you've seen this going around the internet the past few days, Kirk, but there is the Kirk Cousins curse, which has been going around. And that's no team that you have beat has gone on to play in a Super Bowl, which puts the 49ers in a tough spot and puts the Packers in a tough spot. So I don't know if you've been aware about that, but going around the internet, there's been the Kirk Cousins curse. So
well, I hate that I have that curse on people, but I do know that those are two good football teams. They've proven it, and we'll see if they make a run. I think it is a wide open year. Period. I think that when you look across the league, some of the teams in the past that you could almost just pencil in for the Super Bowl, it would seem that they've got a tougher path, and it would seem that some other teams who you used to not see in the playoffs have a great chance at making a run. So I think that'll make it fun.
Before I get into your partnership here with Tostitos, one last question. I want to get your thoughts on just how impressive CJ Stroud has been, the rookie quarterback for the Texans. Now, obviously, I'm sure you haven't watched a ton of him this year. You're focused on the games the Vikings are playing in. But I'm sure you've at least seen some clips of him. You're looking at his numbers. How impressive is it for a rookie to be playing this well already? Led his team to a playoff win in his rookie season. How difficult is that for rookie quarterbacks nowadays?
Yeah, you certainly have so much you have to take on as a rookie. And anytime a rookie quarterback plays even reasonably well, it's an incredible accomplishment. But had one of his best games, their team had one of their best games of the year in the playoff game. So they picked the right moment to really be peaking as a football team. And I think CJ deserves a ton of credit. I think his coaches do as well. D'Amico Ryans is the head coach. I think, again, a team that didn't have a lot of expectations going into the year has really, created this team now that quite honestly has a lot of expectations in the years ahead because of what they've shown. So, when you can draft players like they have, it certainly, can change your course of your team quickly.
So yeah, go ahead and tell me about your partnership with Tostitos for the upcoming Super Bowl.
Yeah, so Tostitos is the official chip and dip of the NFL, and obviously for going on years, people watch football, they've got their chips and dip, and Tostitos has always been a big part of that. But they're going bigger than ever this year at the Super Bowl, doing a pop-up restaurant called Toast by Tostitos, and they're going to get their Frito-Lay, chefs, professional culinary chefs to whip up some dishes using Tostitos chips as the base ingredient. And I've seen a sneak peek of what they do. Pretty creative what they can do with the Tostitos chips. So I'm going to be a part of it, preparing and serving along with the chefs to fans who make a reservation. It's a free restaurant, so fans can go to toastbytostitos.com to get the information and go to the restaurant in Vegas if they're there the week of the game. There's also a sweepstakes on Instagram with Tostitos where you can win tickets to the Super Bowl, a chance to meet me at the pop-up restaurant, and obviously a trip to Vegas. So that'd be really fun for anybody to enter. They can go to Instagram, go to the Tostitos page, and put out a post with a hashtag Toast by Tostitos and hashtag entry and enter into the sweepstakes. So I think it's a really cool, fun idea by Tostitos to get their chefs involved and create this culinary experience that I'm really excited to be a part of and see just how creative we can get with a Tostitos chip.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Thank you so much, Kirk, for your time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck in your recovery. Best of luck in the future, even if that future doesn't land you in Atlanta with the Falcons. I'll be rooting for that personally, but wherever you end up, even if it's back with Minnesota, best of luck and take care.
Thank you. We'll see what happens.